Hello chess lovers, Soren here, and in this video I want to share with you a brilliant attacking game played by David Bronstein. In this game Bronstein is on the black side and he's playing against Czech chess master Frantisek Zita. The game was played in 1946 in Prague. But before starting the game, let's first solve this chess problem, a thematic one, and solving it will allow you to understand better Bronstein's maneuvers. The task is to mate in 3 moves. By the way, it was like 2 years ago when I solved this chess problem, and it took me like 3 minutes. But later, when having a walk with my friend Grandmaster Tersakian, when I asked him to solve this chess problem, he figured out the solution in like 30 seconds blindfold. And now it will be interesting to know how long will it take you to solve this chess problem. Let us know in the comment section, please. And back to our main board where Zita is playing with the white pieces and he opened up with c4 English opening. By the way, I have to tell you that Mikhail and many other strong players praised this game highly. Let's see what happened on the board. To c4, Bronstein answered with e5, knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, d6, d4. Of course, white can also keep the closed character of the game by playing d3, but decided to determine his pawn configuration straight away and put his pawn on the 4th rank. Knight bd7, g3, g6. So we can see that in this fight, Bronstein chose King's Indian defense. He was an absolute monster in this opening and he's considered to be one of the best King's Indian defense players of all times. Mikhail was also very strong in this opening, as well as Fischer, Petrosian, Geller, and of course Bronstein as well. Almost forgot Leonid Stein's name. He was also a monster in this opening. So let's proceed with the game. Too much talk. Bishop g2 by Zita, bishop g7, after which both players castled kingside. b3. Other popular alternatives are e4 or d takes e5 or h3 d5. In the game, white is choosing the double Fianchetto variation and we have b3. Rook e8, bishop b2, c6 e4, e takes d4, knight takes d4, queen b6. Bronstein is following a good old theoretical line. Queen d2, knight c5, rook e1, a5, trying to create a counterplay on the queen side, and rook a b1. A strong move with which white is overprotecting the bishop on b2. Later that can be very useful, but soon it will become obvious that white has different ideas connected with this rook b1 move. a4 by Bronstein and bishop a1. Well, as you have already overprotected this bishop, it's better to play h3 in order not to allow knight g4 move. And now if a takes b3, then a takes b3, and after knight takes b3 you can go for an exchange on b3, and as you have a rook on b1 you can already capture on d6. This line could be a possible reason of playing rook b1, but after a4 we see bishop a1 by Zita, and now it becomes obvious that he had something different in his mind. A takes b3, a takes b3, and knight g4 opening up the dark squared bishop's diagonal. h3. White is finally making this move, but already it's too late. Well, reinforcing the knight on d4 with rook d1 is better. But in the game we see h3, and now let's see what's the problem with it. As we have reached the critical position, please pause the video and try to find Bronstein's next moves. Ready? In here, Bronstein made one of the most sparkling moves in his career and he played rook takes a1. How do you like this beauty, guys? He's removing this dark squared bishop and now will emphasize the vulnerability of this diagonal. Now this bishop, which is considered to be a formidable weapon in King's Indian defense, will carry out a destructive work. All white could do was to accept this exchange sacrifice, and there comes another heavy blow, the logical continuation of it. Knight takes f2. This diagonal is also weak, and by relying on these two facts, black will destroy his opponent. Rook e3, white is already hurrying to block the diagonal, but let's take a look. What if, for example, king takes f2? Then in here, knight takes b3 will follow, and white is suffering heavy losses. Or after knight takes f2, if queen takes f2, then this time knight d3 is winning. Let's go back in the game. We see rook e3 because already black wanted to make a move like knight d3. The idea is to stop the intrusion of the second knight, but there comes knight takes h3 check, king h2, knight f2, and now knight g4 check can be a threat. White played rook f3 but left this pawn on e4 unprotected, and we have knight takes e4, queen f4, knight g4 check, king h1 and f5. Black is totally dominating the position, and once position is lost, you know, just no way out. Look at this monster putting a pressure down the long diagonal, so this queen is very strong. Knight takes e4 followed, rook takes e4, queen takes d6, and the knight on d4 also dropped. So already at this point black has two minor pieces against the rook, right? And a crushing position. Queen b8, rook d8, rook a8, and bishop e5. Cornering this white queen, and this time we see queen b4. Of course, black is rejecting the offer of exchange of queens. Black now not only wants to announce a check from e1, but also queen f8, queen h6 maneuver can follow. For example, now if queen a4, then queen e1 check, followed by queen d2. The game is over. In the game, white neutralized queen e1 threat with queen g1, but this time queen f8 followed. Now queen h6 check is the threat. Bishop h3, and after queen h6, resignation followed. If, for example, queen g2, then rook d1 check. If here, then rook d2. It's over. What are you going to play? If queen takes d2, then instead of recapturing, you can go for a direct kill, you know. Checkmate is just a matter of moves. If queen g2, then bishop d4 is winning, and if king h1, then another check, and then bishop h2 here. Okay, this is a checkmate. That's why after queen h6 we see a resignation. A very, very impressive combination by David Bronstein. With that exchange sacrifice, he removed white's dark squared bishop and emphasized the vulnerability of the long and G1 A7 diagonal. Feel free to share this beauty with your friends as well. And as usual, we'll see you in my next video. Take care.